My name's Andrew. I quit my corporate job to start a business in a foreign country, and today we're unloading 15,000 chicks. So it looks like we may be missing some chicks. It's loading day today, ladies and gentlemen. Another month, another load of chicks. We have a few quick repairs to get done at the farm before the chicks arrive. We're gonna head to the hardware store, head to the farm, and then we'll receive the chicks. Let's go. We're at Wilcon, baby. We make a weekly trip here at least, just to speak to our friends now, the workers. So we're going to get a foam spray to cover up some leaks, some air leaks in the ceiling of the farm. We'll speak about why that's important when we're there, as I'm doing some handyman contractor work. PU foam spray, that's all we need. Salamat to all the kuyas here. Salamat kuya, ingat. That's what keeps us coming back here at Wilcon. The friendly faces, the nice smiles, and all the helping hands here. I'm just joking, it's just a hardware store, but the people here are actually pretty good. Like, they generally know what they're doing, and everybody seems to know where everything is. Salamat kuya, thank you. And it's getting hot. Like, it's just, we flipped a switch here in the Philippines. It's gone from raining every day to we're back to some serious heat. So it's going to be a different management of the Manuk the next coming cycles, where before it was really tough to keep the temperature warm enough because it was getting pretty cool, and now it's going to be probably more of a battle of keeping things cool enough. But we'll see, we'll get it figured out. We'll learn a few things, we'll make some mistakes, and off to the farm we go. You guys will see firsthand the type of handyman work that I can put up. You'll see firsthand the type of handyman work I can get myself into here. So we'll make some small repairs and we'll be ready for the chicks to come. Yeah, let's go. I think we're set up for a better start to the cycle here. I think our very first cycle, automatic feeder, the motor broken, a bunch of fans were broken, and we also didn't really know what we were doing. So we were kind of just, trying our best to figure shit out as we went along. Second cycle, we thought we had things figured out, and then we laid down a bunch of wet rice hull, which, was not the best, cleanest start. And the chicks showed up like 2 hours before we thought they were going to show up, and we were scrambling a little bit to get things organized. But I think this cycle, rice hull's been laid down well in advance. It's all dry, no issues there. We have fresh new heaters, which I'm excited to see in action. I'm excited to showcase what they look like in action. They've been a battle, these other ones. I don't know if we have much footage of Kuya almost burning his eyebrows off, but they weren't the safest pieces of equipment there. So we should have better management there. There's nothing really broken or major issues. We have some minor but impactful repairs here, filling some air leaks from the ceiling. But I think overall we're set up for a better cycle from the start here. And then we'll see if we can maintain consistency throughout. We're at the farm. The kuyas went ahead. They got the chick paper laid out, and they're just putting the dividers in. So let's go take a look. So here we are. Major difference you notice when you walk in here, especially compared to last time, is the state of the rice hull. It's all so dry. You can literally see just when I step, look. And then another thing we're doing, which I visited a couple farms between this off period here, and a lot of them, and online I see, a lot of them, when they put the chick paper, they just strip it down here and they don't put it underneath the feeding pans. And I think the reason being is that it will make it a lot easier to remove it. Because before we used to put, I guess, like 3 sheets down here instead of 2, and one would go down the middle, and then it was like so tough to remove it. And then you're stressing out the chicks, and it takes longer, and it's probably not really necessary to have it that way. So we're just doing 2 strips down here, and should make it a lot easier to remove it when the time is needed. So we'll essentially have 2 heaters per section. Got Kuya Joseph, the best in the business. Kuya? Hi guys. We'll get this divided up. Got Kuya Joseph and Kuya Rodwell calculating. Look at him thinking. I don't even want to know the math that's going on in his head. Sometimes Rodwell's a 1 + 1 = 7 kind of guy, but it's Kuya Rodwell, so he might be able to count a pack of Chesterfields better than he can count Manuk. Each one of these should cover, I think, 4,000 chicks is kind of the area or quantity of chickens that they can look after. Where are they? Just for reference, if they end up being really good, so short time heaters here, like big saucers. They look nice, they spark up nice. You'll see here firsthand how these work, and if they work well for me, then maybe go check them out yourself. We don't make recommendations here, we just try shit out, and you'll see firsthand if it works or fails. You let me be the guinea pig here. We're gonna go cover some holes with some foam spray in the ceiling. So we're gonna turn some fans on. There's some really obvious ones, and then we'll turn these on to see if we can feel any hot air blowing in from some more inconspicuous areas. Why this is important, it's because you want the air entering the farm to come in through the cooling pads. Holes in the ceiling, and this isn't an insulated ceiling either. So air in here, you have sun hitting the ceiling, or hitting the roof, and it creates really, really hot air between the roof and the ceiling here. So if there's holes that are then letting air pass through when you turn the ventilation fans on, then you're getting really hot air come in, and it's actually almost creating the opposite effect that you want. It's not cooling the area, it's actually pulling in like 60-degree air that's been baking up there rather than fresh air coming in through the cooling pads. You see some of the, not the best work done whenever this was built, but like gaping holes, and if you put your hand there, like you really feel hot air ripping through. So start here with the biggest holes. Shake vigorously 20 times. It's about 20. We'll see. I hope this shit doesn't spill anywhere, but let's see what we can do. Oh. Gut. It's funny, like people message me asking like, how do you know all this stuff? Like, how do you know how to do stuff like this? And it's shit like this, that you have people that know more come to the farm, like the Australian Innovations people. Australia Farm Innovations came, they did the fans and stuff, and I just asked them to take a look around, and it's shit like that like I'm not really privy to. And then they're like, yeah, you should probably cover those up, and that's, could be probably the lowest cost thing you could do to actually make an impact. And then I just repeat that stuff to you guys. So like, you learn just from other people, and you just pass on the knowledge, is kind of what's going on. So we're not perfect here by any stretch, but each cycle we just try to get better. And then after you get more under your belt, then maybe you become the guy that can help others a little more thoroughly too. It's tough to tell. I've used this stuff only one time in my life before to seal in an AC at my house, and it like really blew up way more than I thought it would. So it was kind of like a pain to cut down. This won't be a pretty fix. Like, this will end up looking pretty ugly and rugged, but I think it's gonna do the exact job that we're looking for it to do. This isn't some sort of studio that we're trying to make aesthetically pleasing. We just want things to do the job that they're intended to do. It's kind of satisfying work, actually. I can't believe how much comes in a bottle here. That's basically the whole side of the farm. This is when it dries. It's like a styrofoam almost. So pretty cool, like really good product. Like, some people are ingenious with inventions like this. So it's like super simple, but like that's not going anywhere. There we go. Time to get the second bottle, fill up the other side, and then we'll be mostly done in terms of, I guess, repairs, I say. We'll do, I'm sure, some next cycle. We'll probably go back to fix the tarp again, but I'm really pleased with what got done after the second cycle. Like, I feel a lot more confident, knock on wood, hopefully the results speak that way, but I feel a lot more confident in getting the brooding done better, which is, in my opinion, has been the biggest downfall to us. I think we've been really setting the tone for our shitty uniformity on like day 2, based on our inability to keep a solid temperature in there. Because I remember last cycle I'm checking, and like it's a day or 2 in, and it feels like only half of them have eaten, and it should have been like 90 to 100%, almost 100% of them should have by that time. So especially in those early stages, they're almost doubling in weight every day. They come at like 35 grams, you weigh them on day 2, and they're like 70, 80 grams. So if you have some that aren't eating and growing at all, you're really setting the tone for some poor uniformity early on. And some of those mistakes you just can't recover from. You try to mitigate, but if you're setting the tone with shitty brooding, you are creating irreparable damage that you're just fighting the rest of the cycle to keep within a reasonable, manageable state. So we just wrapped up putting the spray foam here on the building. It's not the best work. I'm not overly skilled at spray foam here, but it covers up all the things, and these are good, cheap fixes that can be done that have a material impact on the air quality here and the performance of the birds. So you don't always need to be looking at getting and replacing expensive equipment. You don't need new fans or new heaters or new this or new that and go spend a bunch of money hoping that it improves performance. Start with things that you can fix yourself for really cheap that actually have a large impact on how the birds may perform. These thermometers, each heater has its own temperature setting. So we'll set it to 33, just manual dial. This is what reads the temperature here, and there we go. And that'll control that one over there, and then we'll move our way down. And this is the last one here. So these are actually two thermometers. This one goes to the control panel in there that does the fans and all that good stuff. And then this one goes for the heaters. So over time, we will just keep turning that temperature, lower and lower, as the required temperature in here won't be as high, or won't need to be as high as we go through the cycle. So we'll just adjust these on a day-to-day basis as we need, and hopefully they can kind of regulate themselves and keep a good temperature in here. Heaters are all set, temperatures all set. We're gonna start spreading out the feed along the chick paper and the automatic feeding trays. This is the setup we're rolling with. We got the feed trays on the outside. We'll run the automatic feed line in the middle, and then we'll start preheating the brooding area. So we'll flick on all the heaters after and see what they look like when they're all up and running, and hopefully looking a lot better than they did before. Let's get in here. And I mentioned it last time, but it's important. You don't want to put too thick of a layer of feed in here, because then the chicks get in there and they like shit in it and it gets like super dirty and gross. So I find it's better to fill it more frequently than really load it up, hoping that you don't need to fill it as often, because then it just gets kind of gross. That's kind of a lesson learned from last cycle, and that's what the doctor was saying from the integrator, which I tend to agree with. It's kind of satisfying, this part of the process. Some parts, especially, I find loading day, I'm a big fan of. I find it like it's fun to just kind of shuck the chicks like that. It's kind of fun to do, and like the feed stuff, like everything's clean. And then once you get to harvest, you come in here and it's like everything's full of shit and you're getting real dirty, but here it's more of a clean state. So I feel like this time around, we're using a lot less feed. I feel like we used like almost a bag of feed per section last time early on. And what you notice is when you roll up the chick paper, you're rolling up a shit ton of feed. And it's like, we probably shouldn't put that much on the floor. So we're trying to dial it back here, both in the pans and on the paper, and then just manage it more actively. Kuya just turned on the automatic feed line. So that'll fill up these ones in the middle. And then we have the manual trays on the side. So it's pretty loud, but in a minute or two, it'll make its way down and these will start filling up, which is good. The chicks just arrived. They'll be settling in the truck for a little bit while we put the feed out. So we're gonna go crank on all the heaters now so we can start raising the temperature in here. So let's go see what it looks like when all these new heaters are up and running. I just need to see to make sure we're open. Now we're talking. And here we have our fresh box. Moment of truth. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Sparked up under there now, so that'll start heating up. And if it gets too hot, likely in the daytime it may heat up too much. They'll flick off automatically and regulate themselves here. So this is something special. They work well. You don't need to manually light them. They have good safety features from what I've been told from the engineers who put them in, that if they fall or anything, like they cut off automatically, which the other ones did not. And the people that came in and put them in said they've seen a lot of farms burn down with the heaters we had in here before. So you combine those with, we had a couple gas leaks as well. We were testing our luck a lot. To get these put in here feels really nice. We can walk down and see them all turned on. Got Kuya Joseph here, the man. Kuya! Last cycle we used, I think 17 tanks of gas, which is why we got the lines checked. We're like, there must be a leak. So with these in, we'll see exactly how many things of gas, how many tanks of gas we use, and what that looks like financially in terms of what that's saving us. So we'll do a little before and after here and let you know if it's worthwhile getting heaters like this put in for you. We're just dropping down the water lines now. We raised them to put the chick paper down and spread the feed out. So Kuya's just putting it down now. You see we got them really low because they're coming, they're pretty small, but you still want them to be able to, peck upwards rather than have it right at eye level. So those bags are heavy, but some of these Kuyas actually, Rodwell himself too, he could probably throw 2 of those on his back and that'd probably fold me. But some of these Filipino Kuyas out here on the farm can handle a 50 kg bag of feed like I've never seen. Watch out for Kuya there. We have an addition. Nice close-up of our man Kuya Rodwell. But we actually brought in 3 counters today. So we're gonna have people count all of the chicks. We've never had that before, so it'd be interesting to see if that interrupts, you know, how efficient we are in unloading them. But maybe they're quick. Like, I don't really know what the process is gonna be in terms of counting it, but it'd be nice to get a spot check to know that the correct amount of chicks are arriving, because if you don't check at all, I mean, maybe if you've been with the integrator for a while and like they have a strong trusted history with you, it's not so big of a deal. But if you really don't know and you're not counting, like you could end up way off and think it's, I mean, I don't know, like there'd be something, you arrive at the end of the cycle, you think your HR should be 95, ends up being 92 or 3, and you're thinking, what the hell? So it could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe your accounting's bad and your, you know, your record keeping's not good, but maybe the amount of chicks that got dropped off isn't great either. But you know, we'll see. It's just kind of something we're doing just to see how it goes. But I think this integrator, I think the rule of thumb is like for every crate of chicks, they add 1 more in than what each crate should have. So I think you actually theoretically should get a little in excess in case, you know, things go wrong along the way. So we'll see how true that is. But a good thing here is that they, while counting, they also get a first pass on any DOA or dead on arrival and chicks that we should be rejecting. So we kind of have 2 layers of approval now. They go through count, and that's the first layer. And then as we put them in, we'll see them. We'll walk through after 2 as a double, triple check, and we'll catch any rejected ones as well. But it's nice to have that second filter so we're not keeping any in here that we shouldn't. I'm nervous about taking them off the truck because it's tall getting through the door, and I feel like I'm gonna have to like get down like this, and I don't know if these legs can take it. So I don't want to be responsible for dropping 3 things of chicks, but I'll put in the work when it comes to tossing them in. That's where I come in. And as per ritual, we'll pull one out here. God, every time I get them, I forget how small they are. Chubby guy, day-old chick, hatched today. These should be younger chicks than we received last time. Some integrators, and the one we're with, they have like different classes of chicks, which is essentially a rank of the quality of them. So last time we got more down at the bottom tier. These are a little bit better, supposedly. We'll see. Again, I'm not a blame it on the chicks type of person, so if shit goes south, these won't be the blame. This will be the blame here. So we'll see how it goes. I got the scale. We're gonna weigh a few to get an idea of you know, the size we're receiving. They look really small. They look a lot smaller than what we received last time, I feel like. 40, 30. Busog Sisiu. 50, 40. I'd guess the average is probably 40 grams here, which is actually about the same that we got last time. Maybe I feel like I just misremember how small they actually are until they get here. Like they literally weigh nothing. It's crazy. And we're about to get the exclusive here with the one and only Kuya Joseph. Ang galing, Kuya. Kuya, kamusta yung mga sisiu?
Okay naman po.
Okay. And there, you heard it from the man himself. If he says they're good chicks, they're good chicks. He's our newest addition to the team, actually. He came last cycle and brought some skills. Like he doesn't say much, but he gets shit done. And what else could you ask for this type of work, really? Let's begin. I'm like preparing myself for a hard day's labor here. Here we are. You ready, guys? Let's see. Are you ready to enter the cage here? Look at him. Does he look like he's ready? For a good day of growing, you better be 2 kg at the end of the cycle. You better be. There you go. You got to inflict some discipline into him. Start down here. See how my skills are. Oh yeah, that's a clean drop there. It's getting hot in here. These heaters are doing some work. How's it feel? Is it hot? Our cameraman's sweating over there. You gotta go quick or else they start moving, and then it can be hard to be putting the last crates down. So I try to keep them tightly packed while I'm throwing them, and then they can spread themselves out later. Okay, so the biggest, not the biggest, but a big difference in these heaters too, is the flame isn't straight down lechon manooking our chickens here. So it's not roasting them. Like the other ones we had before, the flames just like, there was really no way to regulate how strong it came out. Part of that's, it was shitty heaters. The other part is that they were really fucking old too. But like this, the fact that they're even staying under here is already a way better sign because like it should be, you know, habitable environment underneath there. I probably have a video of it from previous cycle that the whole area around the heater gets too hot and it essentially shrinks your brooding area because it's like a no-go zone for the chicks, so they never go there. Here we are. I guess we have a few that are missing some chicks there. So the guy from the hatchery, the delivery driver from the hatchery, is actually coming to verify and count. Whoops. But won't make any judgment until we count them all. Some crates may have more. One thing I'm also wondering, it just came to my mind while we were weighing, is I wonder like what impact like the uniformity of the chick sizes may play in like long-term uniformity. Maybe nothing. I literally have no idea. If you know, comment down below. But like when we're weighing, we have some 30 grams, some 50 grams. Like, is that something that carries through the cycle? Or is that something where it's like such a small weight, it's kind of doesn't make much of a difference? I have no idea. Maybe that's a question for ChatGPT. You can see too, like the grade of, or the tier of chicks that the integrator, you know, how they class them. Like these already look way more active than they did last cycle. And the ones the cycle before that, I think were like tier 1 or class A. I can't remember the notation that they used, something along those lines. And they looked really active too. And then the second time we got, you know, not so good chicks, and they like visually and behaviorally like looked worse actually. It's something you can pick up the more you see things, the more intuitive some of these things become. So a business like this, like there's best practices, but a lot of it comes down to just like you hear a lot of people in this business say like, you know, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And I ask people like that too. And a lot of the times the answer is, well, like, what are the chicks doing? Like, what do they look like? It's like, should I increase the heaters? Should I do this? Is the ventilation not enough? And a lot of times people are just like, well, what do the chicks look like? And if you have no intuition built up, then you don't really have an answer to it. It's a big part of these first few cycles is making sure that my eyes are on them and I see what's going on, and at least making an effort to make conclusions as to what variables may be determining the behavior of them. There we go. It's all the flick of the wrist here. That's the technique. God, the back is, every cycle this gets a little harder. There we are. We're almost done here. This is the last one for me here. Okay. So small, and if you're here for the first time, you're saying, why the f are they blue? Is what a lot of people say. A lot of people say, why do you dye them blue? We don't just give them a blue haircut so they can go out and protest political issues on the streets. That's not why we do it. We do this, or no, we don't do it. The hatchery does it because it's the vaccine, and the vaccine happens to be blue, and it's like a spray vaccine rather than your typical, you know, human needle vaccine. Different integrators use different vaccines and stuff. Sometimes they come fluffy yellow, but for this integrator, typically you're getting blue chicks. I think we're gonna get Kuya to put the tarp down there, and we'll put it down as we go each section because they're looking like they might be a little bit chilly on the arrival. We didn't heat it up for as long as we would have liked, but it'll heat up quick. When we put the tarp down, it'll heat up quick, and these new heaters actually have some real power to them. Couple lone soldiers. There you go. Straight to eating. That's what we like to see. It's a star performer. Straight to work. What's better looking? This at day 1 or a crispy chicken burger on day 30? It's tough to say. Hey, so it looks like we may be missing some chicks, actually. We have the counters in, and I think right now, I'd be surprised if the count even out by the end of it. I think we're missing, not a lot, but you know, you don't want to be missing any. And they'll probably just deduct this from our starting number, which is fine. If they're saying 15,000 are going to show up, you want 15,000 or more to show up. We won't show it, but I'll speak about it. So right here is the remaining chicks. These are ones we rejected and ones that are dead on arrival. So that is the reality here. I see people say that I try to hide that fact from the business, but that's the reality of the business. You get 15,000 people in a room. Some are going to have, you know, genetic abnormalities. Some probably have an illness. Some may have disabilities. That's just like, you know, the normal distribution of organic life, if you will. So yeah, we'll end up sending these back essentially so they don't start off in here. Because if they do start off in there and we record them as mortality, let's say, or they don't get harvested at the end, then that impacts our performance metrics. So we want anything that we don't think is salvageable to make it to the end, we get rid of it at the very beginning. That's how it goes. Our cameraman's the best in the business as well. Oy. Here we are. Kuya Joseph. Salama Kuya. He's got feed on his head. That's how you know he's getting busy out here. See, some under here, you get small spaces where they can kind of get stuck. So we'll put a little something under there, but I'm just gonna walk through and make sure that none are stuck or wedged in any spaces and that can like potentially hurt themselves, or sometimes they sneak out and can't get back in and then they're not eating or drinking, which at this stage can be really, really bad for them. So we're just gonna do a quick walk through, make sure our fences are in order and structurally secure. This is something I'm comfortable giving advice on, is that go through and check, like do this check after, because if you unload and you think everything's fine and then you wait an hour or two, like ones like this aren't eating, they're not even getting the chance to eat, and that could be damaging to them. So you want to catch these things early and often. If you're on the farm in the Philippines, you'll know that there's not much you can't fix with an empty bag of feed. There you go. So they're bunched up. I think they're probably a little bit cold, but the temperature will heat up fairly quickly. We have all the tarps up, so we'll let them rest, let them settle for a bit, and then come check them out later, see if they're kind of settling in the environment. Like they just got unloaded in a brand new place, so they don't know what's going on or what to do. So naturally, there's a little bit of stress, probably a little bit cold, especially they come from a truck. A lot of these times, I think this truck comes, like it's driving at least a couple hours to get here, so they definitely cool down a bit in there. So we wrapped up with loading. It's been a few minutes now, so they've probably settled a bit. This right here is the transfer slip, or essentially like the delivery receipt that the driver brings. So we had counters, so we actually were able to get the exact number of chicks that were dropped off here, and we were actually 19 short. We were supposed to get 15,000, and we ended up getting 14,981. 19 really isn't overly material or significant. That's not gonna like really impact, like say we didn't catch that, it's not like our HR or harvest recovery was gonna be like, you know, all f***ed up because of it, but it's just nice to know, to be honest, and then we can deduct that from the starting amount as well, and then we know our performance metrics are exactly what they should be. There's no unknown variables such as missing chicks that we aren't taking into consideration that may be impacting things. It's we got the exact starting number and we'll roll with that. So yeah, I guess maybe we'll do that next time as well, and it kind of, you know, holds the integrator accountable as well. Like if we were a big farm and we did that, I'm sure as an integrator, you don't want to build up a reputation of undershooting the amount of chicks you bring to farms. That's just not a good reputation to have. So hold people accountable, and for our own, you know, awareness and knowledge, we like to do that as well. You can hear them chirping, which isn't a bad thing. Like they just drop down. You don't want them to be like violently making noise, but if they were like really, really quiet, then you may be a little concerned that something might be going on. So a good healthy chattering going on in there is good. Take a little peek through the hole there. Sometimes I feel like they start, you know, doing things when they don't think anybody's watching them. They start like doing drugs and stuff when they think they're alone. Ugh. Here we are. This is the first section. See, they're a little bit more spread out than they were, but they're kind of congregating by this heater here, so leads me to believe we're still not at the temperature we want. And the fact that all the heaters are still on means we're probably still working our way up to that 33 degrees level. That would be ideal. It'll be interesting to see if these start turning off at different points in time throughout the brooding stage here. So that'd be interesting to know, because if they did, like that should be saving us gas. Before, we're just pretty much ripping them 3 days straight. Is this how you whisper them over? See them coming? This is an advanced chick training technique. You need to be really talented to do this, so don't try this at home, kids. Jesus, it just sucked the energy out of me. That's what happens. It's the energy transfer. And that's the truck driving off, and that wraps up the third delivery of chicks, our third cycle here. Stick around and see how this cycle goes. We have new improvements in the farm. We're continually improving. We're hopefully going to continue raising our profits as a business. Stay tuned to see it. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, and there'll be a lot more to come.